Some audiences don't care for Jimmy Fallon because of his never-ending laughter, but a few celebrities have beef that's a bit more personal. From a former Olympic athlete to the President of the United States, these are just a few of the people who have clashed with the host of The Tonight Show.
What are you kids laughing at? And if you say Jimmy Fallon, I'll know you're lying.
Jimmy Fallon's job is to make his late-night show a place where people can laugh and relax after a long day. He generally tries to keep things positive and lighthearted, and that couldn't be more different from the comedy stylings of Louis C.K. C.K. takes his stand-up much more seriously. His material is much more bleak, and he doesn't seem to appreciate it when a fellow comic makes a joke that doesn't land. The two had a bit of an awkward moment on a 2017 episode of The Tonight Show after a riff from Fallon went horribly wrong. The interview was going well up until the point when CK brought up his passion for napping. When CK joked that he'd take a nap at 11:30 p.m. before going to sleep at midnight, Fallon seemingly had a hard time distinguishing between the two types of rest. Whether or not the host was setting up some kind of gag, his guest wasn't exactly impressed.
Sleep is like the ultimate nap.
That's stupid you just said that. That's a dumb thing to say.
Louis C.K. hasn't appeared on The Tonight Show since, but that probably has much more to do with his admission of predatory sexual behavior that ended up derailing his career. Jimmy Fallon is far less political than some of his competitors, so when then-presidential candidate Donald Trump appeared on The Tonight Show in September of 2016, Fallon approached the interview with entertainment as his top priority. Rather than grill Trump on politics, Fallon asked lighthearted questions and tousled Trump's famously uncontrollable hair. Social media came unglued, eviscerating Fallon for what they equated to an endorsement of the candidate's controversial platform. Fallon responded to the outcry years later by stating, "I did not do it to normalize him or to say I believe in his political beliefs or any of that stuff. I'm just trying to make a funny show. I'm sorry if I made anyone mad." Fallon did make somebody mad indeed, Donald Trump himself. After Fallon's podcast appearance, the president called out the host on Twitter, declaring, "Jimmy Fallon is now whimpering to all that he did the famous hair show with me, where he seriously messed up my hair, and that he would have now done it differently because it is said to have humanized me. He is taking heat. Be a man, Jimmy." Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show occasionally runs a desk bit called Do Not Play. Members of the show's staff track down what they believe to be the worst records from around the world and play snippets for the world to hear. The laughs come at the expense of the musicians behind those songs, who, believe it or not, are actually real people with real feelings. In 2015, Do Not Play featured the 2009 viral hit Take You to the Movies by Australian rapper Bangs, also known as Your Boy Bangs. Fallon joked about the rapper's stage name before playing his song, poking fun at it and doing impressions of it afterwards.
That's Bangs right there.
Wait, he's wearing a sweatband?
He doesn't even have any bangs. No, yeah, he's got a headband on. You can't even see his bangs.
It turns out that if you diss Bangs, Bangs won't hesitate to diss you back. Just a few days after Fallon made fun of him on TV, the rapper released a diss track called Do Not Watch. How did he put it together so fast? He used the same beat from Take You to the Movies, then added in new anti-Fallon lyrics, like, "I should sue your ass for playing my song at your show, but I'm not doing that because your broken hand looks gross." Bangs may not have put the most effort into his response, but the track got hundreds of thousands of YouTube views from fellow Fallon haters. Jimmy Fallon ticked off a lot of people when he invited TikTok star Addison Rae to appear on The Tonight Show in 2021. He had Rae show him 8 different dances that were popular on TikTok at the time. But some people took issue with the fact that she didn't make up any of the moves herself. One of those people was The View co-host Sunny Hostin, who tweeted a clip of Rae performing the choreography with the caption, "This is a miss, Jimmy Fallon. Let's give credit to the Black creators." Hostin's tweet sparked an argument among her followers over whether Fallon's decision to film the segment was a slap in the face to the dance's creators or no big deal. Fallon ended up realizing that he was in the wrong, as he later invited some of the original choreographers to appear virtually on his show and perform their dances. They included Kiara Wilson, creator of the wildly popular Savage Challenge, and the Up dance duo Maya Nicole Johnson and Chris Cotter. The latter spoke about their work being acknowledged by Cardi B, proving that some stars actually do their research before jumping on a social media craze. Before Caitlyn Jenner came out as trans, Jimmy Fallon made a lot of terrible jokes about her face and plastic surgery on Late Night. He compared Jenner's appearances to that of claymation characters in Christmas specials and cracked that her face was made of, quote, 100% recycled material. In a 2013 episode of his show with Joel McHale, Fallon recalled how he turned tail and tried to run when he spotted Jenner at NBC's commissary during the network's Olympic coverage, but he didn't make it. According to Fallon, Jenner exchanged pleasantries with him, but before they parted, she told the talk show host, "Quit saying about my face." Fallon recalled, "I felt like I was going to vomit. I felt like I was going to throw up." Jenner was later asked to appear on Fallon's show. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she told Kim that she didn't want to do a show because she was sick of Fallon's fixation on her face, but she eventually changed her tune. Jenner ultimately decided to use the opportunity to turn the tables on Fallon by going on the show and roasting him to his face. After she admitted to being angry during their commissary conversation, she mocked Fallon for having a weak handshake and said that she could tell he was terrified.
You were such a wimp.
Jay Leno stirred up controversy by refusing to go gentle into that good night when he first vacated his hosting chair on The Tonight Show in 2009. First, he decided to stick around at NBC and started hosting a new variety show, The Jay Leno Show, after Conan O'Brien took over his old job. A lot of hand-wringing over the less-than-stellar ratings of both shows ensued, followed by some schedule shuffling that doomed O'Brien's iteration of The Tonight Show. After just 7 months, Conan was out and Leno was back in. This is where Jimmy Fallon comes in. When Leno retired in 2014, it was Fallon's turn to see if he could keep his butt planted in the hosting chair. If the National Enquirer is to be believed, though, Leno thought the new host would be easy enough to remove from the show. A source told the tabloid in 2014, "Jay is biding his time, confident that Jimmy will fail like Conan. Then, if the network comes back to him, he'd play hard to get, or hold out for a massive salary increase for himself and his entire staff."
I don't know what I expected.
This never ended up happening, but we can't help but wonder if Fallon was at all concerned when Leno returned to The Tonight Show in 2015 and delivered the opening monologue. In September 2023, Rolling Stone published an exposé about the allegedly toxic work environment on the set of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Former employees claim that Jimmy Fallon dropped his affable, aw-shucks persona behind the scenes and was prone to suddenly becoming snappish and ill-tempered. The Rolling Stone piece inspired Twitter users to start digging up old dirt on Fallon. New Yorker archivist Aaron Overbay's contribution was an excerpt from Tina Fey's memoir Bossy Pants. In it, Fey recalls how Amy Poehler immediately let Fallon know that she was not going to kowtow to him just because she was the new kid in the SNL writers' room. Poehler was ready to let her raunch flag fly upon her arrival, but apparently one of the newbies' crass jokes offended Fallon. Fey wrote, "He turned to her and in a faux squeamish voice said, 'Stop that, it's not cute. I don't like it.' Amy dropped what she was doing, went black in the eyes for a second, and wheeled around on him. I don't care if you like it."
I'm sorry, sir, but my sensors indicate that you are indeed a weenie.
Poehler seemed offended that Fallon was expecting cute comedy from her. Luckily, it seems that Poehler was able to get over her seeming annoyance with Fallon's prudishness after she exerted her dominance, and Fey claimed that their relationship was amicable overall.